96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
From what day you may find out, certain people not like me. Everyone focus my God thing now. Makes true me I do it like Nike. But me not fear no guy now. No matter how hard them a spite me. Me just a go and do me thing now. Me just a do it like Nike.
Talking Heads with Naughty is brought to you by BTC, Burger King, the Cancer Treatment Centers of America, the Cleveland Clinic, Dunkin' Donuts, Fine Threads, First Caribbean Bank, Grand Bahama News, John's Department Store, Joker's Wild, KFC, the Ministry of Health and Wellness, Naughty Johnny's, Percy's Island Games, and Tropical Gyros.
Now me and the dog, them a link up. Big truck, 20-inch rim, just a spin up. Me just a kicks up. And a hip hop or calypso. You can't see the star to the tint up. Plus me and the cube.
You got to lock into September 28th edition of Talking Heads. You had to go through all of that just for you to press the button, Mr. Producer? Mr. Producer, listen, man. Buckle up, though. We got a good one today, man. Special guest coming up on the flip side of the break, Dr. Dwayne Sands, chairman of the FNM. We're going to have a conversation with him. And then, of course, in 5 o'clock hour, we'll be talking sports. But people, listen, as a comedian and as a satirist, I have to address something. When I tell you, I could not sit down with all my award-winning prowess, and you know I got some awards for my penmanship and my penning and my writing. I'll be honest with you, I could not put together nothing more comical than the baseless, unwarranted, unscrupulous, libelous attack on me and my character by the COI. Now listen, first and foremost, to their leader, Mr. Lincoln Bain, I know you a long time, so you don't have to take the girly route of going on social media. Because if I got to talk to you, I could reach out and touch you personal. You could reach out and touch me personal. But since you didn't take that route, continuing to show your true colors, we gotta air it here. Now, if you didn't like my comments on Tuesday's show pertaining to the sharing of a vile, disgusting message allegedly from a COI member that was later on said to be shared by the deputy leader of the COI, and that came out in the laundry, that came out in the public domain, or you share it in that capacity as a deputy leader, is ridiculous. It speaks volumes to the content of your character. Because if you had a modicum of political sense, you'd know you don't do stuff like that. Like, really? And then my guest yesterday, the text came through asking Ms. Burroughs if she would be interested in running for the COI. She said no. She'd prefer to remain an independent. And she went in on the attack on Mr. Wilstrom, perpetrated allegedly by the COI and its members. The message was vulgar. It was vile. It was disgusting. And you can't want to lead a country behaving like that. You just can't. But in true typical fashion, when, the COI loves sensationalism, hot button issues. Let's create something. Famous for fake news. That's why I've always said the message has been lost in the messenger when it comes to that organization. But to see the stuff that was put out, yes, we talked about potential. We never said a march was organized, and we never asked for donations for a march, because you don't do that. Now when people call you coalition of ignorance, coalition of idiots, coalition of imbeciles, you won't get upset. But if you act that way, you'll be treated that way. And the idiocy that you put out today is crazy. Absolutely unwarranted. The Guardian had no part in anything. The fact that I sat here on my show and mentioned to the audience, hey, do you think we should put a march together? Do you think we should march? Do you think that might make an impact and change the way things are going? Does not mean Guardian was involved. just more ignorance and lies by Mr. Bain and crew. Furthermore, you and said that I am an operative for Dr. Minnis. Now, to be honest with you, when Minnis heard that, he was sitting down somewhere, and I know he busts out laughing, saying, that ain't no true. He probably still laughing right now. So please, this is much to do about nothing. It is obvious that this party, the COI, loves to criticize. They can give, but they cannot take. They love to criticize, but don't want to be critiqued. What it basically amounts to is a lot of running on by Mr. Bain. That mouth is be running. The supporters is be running. But instead of running your mouth lying, slandering, and libeling people because they call you out on your BS, why don't you run your leader in West End and Bimini and see how well he does? See how strong y'all are. See how much traction y'all got. See how many people really on your leaders run. Run Mr. Bain in West End and Bimini. As a matter of fact, I'll put up the 400. I'll put up the 400. All right? I'll put up the 400. If you all think you got it like that, run Mr. Bain. I'll pay the 400 for him in the by-election in West End and Bimini. If you are so confident in your leader, you are slanderous, libelous leader, by the way, because I need you to prove, Mr. Bain, I received no donations that you're accusing me of. However, talking about receiving money, have you returned the money you received from that old lady that the court told you to return post-haste? Have you returned that money, Mr. Bain? So instead of, you should run as fast as you did from the church, and thank God you did that because God warned us about false prophets. And the more you run on, we can see where you're going. Yeah, run to West End and Bimini and run down there and see how strong you really are. We all want to see it. You might gain some traction. Or you just might be proved to be what you are. In my opinion, a political farce, an opportunist. So, at the end of the day, let me just clear the air. No donations were received for a march. No march was ever planned or organized. And Guardian, because I mentioned it on my show, has nothing to do with it. So please, stop expressing your ignorance and displaying your ignorance in public with the lies and the innuendos. Nobody's going to vote for that. Nobody's going to support that. Nobody. Except a little small cocoon of minions, following Mr. Bain's knockoff, Jim Jones and David Koresh playbook. Really. It's really comical. And thank God I'm a comedian, so I can laugh at lunacy when I see it. But I will tell people, you have to take everything with a grain of salt. And you have to double check everything. Because social media forums and certain political groups love to lie and slander people's name with zero proof. Let's go to the phone lines. Because I've been here. And Mr. Producer, I've been here. This is the first, I've been here 25 minutes. This is the first time the phone, I've been undated with COI callers. Redding me up. Let's go to the phone lines. Talking Heads.
Hey, Naughty, good day. You can hear me?
Yeah, man.
Good afternoon to you and good afternoon to your radio audience. I want them to ask Lincoln Bain about the people that he took to China. I don't know if you hear about that.
Oh, I wasn't even going to that one, but let me know that one since we're pulling files.
Yeah, ask them. You all got such a wonderful leader. He ain't even reached power yet and he done started robbing people. Ask him about those innocent people he took to China and took thousands of dollars for them and left them in China.
Left the people in China?
They're probably still in China. Naughty. That happened a couple years ago. Bahamian entrepreneur.
Wow.
Ask him about that. That's all I wanted to call in for. Naughty, he's have a good show, man.
You too, man. I appreciate you, man.
All right.
Thanks, bro. Have a good one. Talking Heads, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Who's this? All right. So, I done said what I had to say. Okay? And I won't be dealing with no knockoff third party, such as the COI, moving forward. I won't. Because you prove to be scandalous, libelous liars. And your leader, quite frankly, leaves a lot to be desired. Okay? So, with that being said, we're going to get to the break. We got our guests lined up, Mr. Producer. So we get to the break. And on the flip side of the break, I'll be having a conversation with a serious politician, a veteran politician, a politician who knows the protocol of politics. Dr. Dwayne Sands, chairman of the FNM, coming up on the flip side of the break. And so you know COI from 2 weeks ago. This just so happens coincidentally, he's my guest today on the day y'all decide to practice hee-haw. Anyhow, to the break we go.
Juicy fried chicken, mashed potatoes with gravy, and a hot buttery biscuit for only $5. That's genius! Part of the KFC Genius menu, the KFC $5 snack box delivers on flavor and value. Need to feed more than one? KFC's Great Picks has got you covered. Packed with 4 thighs and 4 legs, fried to golden perfection, plus 4 buttery biscuits for only $20. More genius! Hungry for deals? The Genius Menu at KFC. It's finger-licking good.
Wherever you are in the world, Cleveland Clinic's world-class care is here for you. From Ohio to Florida to London, Cleveland Clinic treats thousands of patients every year. Ranked number 2 in the world by Newsweek, you can trust our caregivers' experience across each step of your treatment journey. For every care in the world, learn more at clevelandclinic.org/Caribbean.
Refined style with elegant taste. The fine threads is your place. If you want those slacks hemmed or just taking the waist, then fine threads is your place. If you wanna look suave and debonair everywhere you go, like you're supposed to be in a video, wanna step out and look great, then fine threads is your place. Refined style with elegant taste, then fine threads is your place. Is your place. Is your place.
Put your best foot forward this school year by shopping at John's for your back-to-school foot care needs. From toddlers to college students, have your child looking smart in a pair of Hush Puppies, Sperry, Easy Strider brand styles, and many more. Durable and sharp, the kids will step with confidence all year. Need socks and a belt? We've got you covered. And don't forget containers. You can find all this and more at the best prices and customer service in town at John's on Rosetta Street and Carmichael Road. John's, we put fashion at your feet.
Craving a sandwich that hits all the right spots? Look no further. Introducing Dunkin's newest star, the oven toasted turkey sandwiches. Made with love and served on toasted sourdough bread, these classics are reinvented with a twist. Sink your teeth into layers of delicious deli turkey, crispy lettuce, and white cheddar. Plus, we've added the perfect kick with smoky bacon and your choice of creamy avocado spread or zesty chipotle sauce. Dunkin's got your sandwich cravings covered all day, every day. The Bahamas runs on Dunkin'.
Tuesday edition of Talking Heads continues right now. And of course, we got to go over a little bit into the 5 o'clock hour, Mr. Producer, we will. Because, I want to make sure I have a good conversation with our guests. And right now, it's time to have a candid conversation. Glad he's back. I know we've been trying to get this in for the last 2 weeks. Glad to have the chairman of the FNM, Dr. Dwayne Sands, with me. Doc, how you doing? Welcome to the show again.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here.
Good to hear from you, man. How goes it? How are you and the fam doing?
Everybody's doing pretty well. They're better than me, and I guess that's how it's supposed to be.
Right, you're doing a good job. Then, if they're better than you, that's the right answer.
Thank you very much.
So, bring us up to snuff, man. There's a lot been going on since the last time we talked. Most prevalently right now, most prominently, the tragic passing of a West End and Bimini MP, Mr. Obie Wilshcombe, and obviously Minister of Social Services.
quite a loss for the nation. Obi was one of these persons who was a pretty affable fella, eh? And so he had a way to make you feel comfortable, even if you disagreed with him. And he wasn't always or hardly ever disagreeable. So you could be on opposite sides of the political divide, but that didn't mean that you didn't like him. And I think he bought into politics, and that is sorely lacking. So the nation mourns the loss of a real journalist, somebody who sacrificed his own freedom in the interest of protecting the Fourth Estate. And I think his contributions in journalism, I wouldn't say matchless, but they're great. And then he went on to provide public service. And for somebody who has served as a minister for, this would have been his third term, notwithstanding the fact that he was on the other side of the political divide, it doesn't diminish the contributions that he's made to this country. And I think the nation has lost a son.
And that's pretty much been the sentiment. One thing that you can do in politics is know when to put down, the politics and just be humane. And I think shared by many people from across the political divide, from various political parties, Obi was a person of the people. And like you said, he always had a way of making you feel like he was listening, even if you were, disagreeing.
And a good book speaks to that. There's a time to laugh and a time to cry. There's a time to reap and a time to sow. There's sometimes when we're going to do battle. But we may be political adversaries, but we're not enemies. We are all Bahamian.
At the end of the day.
That's what they had. This would be a far better country.
And now that brings me to the next question, which obviously brings up the elephant in the room. There's an impending by-election.
Right. So constitutionally, there clearly has to be a by-election, but in the interest of respect, the granular parts of this, the overt political side of it, and there will be overt politics, I think ought to give way for a level of respect for his loved ones and family as they grieve. And so, yes, the Speaker of the House has to notify the Governor General. The Governor General will then have to issue a writ of election at some point. And then a determination is made as to how that is contested. But, we don't have to deal with that today. We'll have time to deal with that. For right now, I think the nation prepares for a state funeral, which, as I understand, will be held in Grand Bahama on the 13th of October. And, many people around the dining room table, at the bars, restaurants, water and hole, water cooler, clearly are talking about what comes next. But, we could put the brakes on for a bit, and we'll get to that. Believe me, we'll get to that.
I think that is like the responsible thing to do politically. I think Russian, Mr. Wilson hasn't been there a good 48 hours yet, going on, 3 days, and still the stories are whirling. The irresponsible fake news is whirling. And, Bahamians, for lack of a better word, sometimes we're very gullible, into things hook, line, and sinker, and they couldn't be further from the truth.
I want to publicly join in the national outrage at some of the callous, cold, disgusting, unacceptable voice notes that are circulating. And I don't want to pile on here, but I think it is only responsible for us to disassociate ourselves with that kind of politics, okay? It didn't happen to me. It wasn't directed at me, or us, but it shouldn't be directed at anybody. And so if people feel some kind of way that they're getting called out because they have forwarded or participated in the dissemination of not just trash, but nastiness, you got to take responsibility and say, look, I did something that was dumb. I did something that was unacceptable. I apologize. But the excuse that I heard, I'm sorry, I don't buy it. I don't accept it. And I don't think the Bahamian people should accept it either.
I don't think the Bahamian people have accepted. I think that's why there's so much of a spin on it right now with just lies, for lack of a better word. It was an irresponsible move, and I think some political maturity was shown by saying, like you said, Dr. Sands, they apologized. I was caught up in the moment. It was a bad decision. I think people will respect that because you're being honest. To come with a spin sells the picture of more of the same old, same old.
Right. So, you can't be disingenuous. If you get caught, you would hope that even if you didn't get caught, that when you realize what you had done, that and that's a level of maturity. Unfortunately, I think we ain't quite there. But to have been caught and called out on it, given an opportunity to say, look, here's what happened. You don't deny that it happened, but now you won't come with a story about you didn't read it, really, or didn't listen to it. Seriously, ain't nobody buying that.
I think
it's unacceptable, and we should all condemn it. Every single one of us.
I think we need to start embracing that as a society and not being afraid to call wrong out where wrong is. I think we've let wrong slide for so long. We need to start calling it out. And this is a classic example of what's wrong in politics and what we don't need in politics.
Whenever, if you're a victim, then obviously you feel it. But particularly when you're not the victim, injustice, when you see something that is unacceptable, unethical, unreasonable, immoral, whatever the time is, okay? You know how the poem goes, ask not for whom the bell tolls, it tolls for thee.
Uh-huh.
Understand, okay, that, it mightn't be you today, but it can be you tomorrow. So when you see something happening to your brother or your sister, and it ain't right, then it's time to call whomever it is out on it. And then maybe we won't have some of the challenges that we have in this country with, and I could enumerate some of them, but, we exact physical violence, emotional violence, mental violence, financial violence on each other day in and day out. And, sometimes, how we behave, and perhaps we can make this a more civil society.
I mean, for 50 years, we've probably been doing it the same way, right, Doc? Why not try something different moving forward? Why not try a little bit of civility? Because, the animosity that's out there is way too much. And people just taking the steps that they say or they take blindly in the name of politics doesn't help get us to where we need to be. I think we need some more frank, honest conversations, like what I'm hearing from you today. If you drop the ball, you say you dropped the ball. If you did well, you can recognize the good you did. But you got to be able to take criticism, and that's one thing I can say, that you, the F&M, and your counterparts at PRP, you all know how to take criticism. You all know how to take go.
It's 50 years as a nation. I thought I would see a day again when the Miami Dolphins would be 3-0. Okay?
Oh, Jesus. And score 70 points.
The only undefeated team in the NFL. Lord, something happening in the universe, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if the Dolphins could be the only undefeated team in the NFL right now, then certainly we could change our behavior. All right?
Yeah.
And I hope you feel me here, because this is the least likely situation that could be going on right now. And I know there's a lot of Miami Dolphin fans listening to this conversation that
my co-host got something to say when he get in at 5 o'clock. Earl of Pearl, but that's okay.
Despise my commentary, right? But
I give them the business every day though, so they used to it.
So if we could believe that we could change what this country is like, because we are absolutely in need of another revolution in the Bahamas, one like 67, one like 92. The situation in the Bahamas is unfortunately so dark. It is so many people are in despair. We're in the middle of a cost of life crisis. It is so hard for people to live, and there is very little hope for many people right now. And if you believe I am exaggerating, then you clearly have no contact with people in the streets in this country. And so we need some major changes in the way we do business, the way we conduct business, and most importantly, how we care for people.
Speaking of caring for people, Doc, let me ask you this question because it's too far off politics, but I'd like to get your take on it. I think it's very scary considering what we're seeing fentanyl do to our neighbors in the north with the huge addiction crisis and, for lack of a better words, the fentanyl zombies. I see we had a death from fentanyl in Grand Bahama. Should we really start the red flags up about this?
We should. Yes, we should. Because whatever happens in North America, to some degree, lesser or greater, is going to end up here. Now, when it was confined to urban America and primarily darker-skinned persons in America, there wasn't a whole lot of alarm, eh?
No.
But when it hit suburban America, and
Becky and Chad were affected.
Then all of a sudden the opioid crisis became real. And now thousands of young people dying. And now they're taking note of it. I think we would, if we stick our head in the sand and say that it can't happen here, then we clearly don't remember the crack epidemic of the 1980s and what life was like in the Bahamas, okay? When people used to come thief your TV to sell it for $10 to get a rock.
And
TVs was hard to move in them days.
Correct. And fentanyl is like, what, 4 or 5 times more lethal than heroin?
Well, it is a deadly thing. And the problem is only a tiny amount of fentanyl can cause you to overdose and die. It is not only deadly, it is cheap. And it is difficult to control dose. And of course, the people that sell it are only interested in making a couple dollars or a lot of dollars. So we have to be aware of this, understand that traffickers, people traffic in humans, they traffic in guns, they traffic in drugs. It may be hard to make as much money with coke or with marijuana, but some of the newer drugs, the psychedelic drugs and others, and fentanyl in particular, is something that our law enforcement agency needs to be aware of, but everybody in the community needs to keep it on their radar. It's real.
Well, I appreciate you offering that commentary on it, Doc, because when I saw that, I said, I got to ask a sidebar question to Dr. Sands, because I've seen, I see what it's doing in the States, and God forbid our young people get caught on this. And we don't need another epidemic like how we had in the 80s with the drugs.
Incredibly addictive. So it doesn't take much of an exposure before you get hooked. We did not have the same kind of experience with OxyContin as they did in the United States. Okay?
Thank God.
But bear in mind that we do have an issue in our community with visitors and others wanting prescription narcotics. And so every year, just about, towards the end of the year, we find that we run out of these drugs, and cancer patients and surgical patients that have real pain can't get them, in large part because our quota through WHO or PAHO been used up. And it used to be that we had a serious, serious problem finding fentanyl for use because they come in patches or Percocet, morphine, other drugs like that. So don't believe that the Bahamas is immune to this. We got some people in our communities that love their Ativan and their Xanax and other drugs. So we are not immune to the problem. You may not hear about it as much, but it's there.
All right, I got another one for you, Doc. I see, crime again. Man shot dead, was victim of previous shooting. You've had some murders, murders. Every other day we seeing somebody get shot, somebody get killed. I mean, what is the F&M prepared to do if they are elected as the next government to really combat crime? Because we've heard a lot of talk over the years about combating crime.
This is one of the things that, ought to be depoliticized, quite frankly.
I agree.
Healthcare, crime, some aspects of national security. They don't do very well when you politicize them. But if you look at the approach, there has to be a holistic approach to crime, which includes not only the policing side of it, but also the support side of it, the community engagement, the faith-based organizations, in engaging the schools, looking at the challenges of parenting and the problems that people have with parenting, making sure that people have access to living wage and so on and so forth. When you look, and when I was director of accident and emergency at Princess Margaret Hospital, we have been tracking the level of crime decades. And when you look, people think that our neighbor to the north, the United States, is a violent country. But they have between 5 and 6 murders per 100,000 people. And from 2000, 1990 something, 1995, the Bahamas has had twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times that amount. Okay? And so we stab, juke, shoot, beat, rape, maim more people in the Bahamas per capita than virtually anywhere else in the world. We are one of the top 20 most violent countries in the world. Okay? Now, once you claim that, then you understand that this is more than just some police cars going up and down. Okay? But we don't want to claim it. We would like to pretend that administration is in or that administration is in, that crime is out of control. And it makes for interesting politics. You may remember the fellow standing in front of the yellow sign ahead of a particular election, but that's a story for a different day. But we have a deep-rooted problem with our national psyche. And until we claim it, and we won't be able to understand or turn it around. And it is manifest in dead bodies, in raped women and raped children, abused children. And, people say, man, he must hate Bahamians. No, I just call it as I see it.
That's the problem. A lot of people don't like brutally honest people. You happen to be brutally honest. And I respect it. I appreciate that, because I, in my own right, will be brutally honest myself. Now, a quick question coming off the text lines for you, Doc. Naughty afternoon, great show as always. Please ask Dr. Sands what is his take on the situation with the MP for Abaco, since y'all are talking about rape and allegations.
So let's start with the premise that this is now sub judice.
I was just going to tell the text of that, but yeah. As best you can, Doc, if you can.
So in general, I think that as a nation, we should collectively abhor, condemn, stand up against violence in general, but violence against women and children in particular. And, the concept of zero tolerance is something that I think we ought to try to move to. We'll never get there, but we unfortunately accept violence as a norm. And, we have seen in our House of Assembly where members of Parliament have laughed about it, okay? And I don't need to remind you that incident. I'm sure you recall.
Yeah.
And we don't do ourselves any good. The recent exercise with the Prevention of Violence Act unfortunately watered down the legislation that had been worked on by civil society and by a coalition of groups in the country to specifically deal with a problem of gender-based violence. Then the Bahamas goes to its international meetings and sometimes makes some comments that are perhaps not quite genuine. Okay? So to answer your we as a country need to look in the mirror and recognize that the way we have framed this conversation has done no good for our women and our children. And we got to get serious. We need a come to Jesus moment with ourselves because we have an unacceptable approach to violence against women and children in this country.
Got another one off the text lines for you, Doc. They have, it says, Naughty, could you please ask Dr. Sands, what is his take on the continued borrowing from this current administration? I see another $70 million has been borrowed from Saudi Arabia for the exhumants.
And probably illegally so. Because the Deputy Prime Minister, Minister of Tourism, is not the Minister of Finance. And so they got some explaining to do how the Minister of Tourism constrained the people of the Bahamas for a debt of $70 million. Okay? Don't mind the fact that, we need an airport in Exuma and we could use one in Eleuthera and one in Long Island and so on and so forth. We have laws. This administration has demonstrated that it ain't too interested in following the laws as it relates to fiscal policy, procurement, no bid contracts, reporting on how they're spending money, etc. This administration has also decided that they're going to spend more money in the than has ever been spent in 1 year in the history of the Bahamas, and that they can tax the hell out of all of us in order to get it.
But this is the same administration that on the campaign trail said that they would not tax. They would be visionary, correct?
It mightn't be a tax, but it's a levy, it's a assessment, it's a
tariff.
Fine, it's a tariff. Don't worry, they getting their money, okay? They getting their money, and they're spending the money. As a matter of fact, we are concerned that they're having some difficulty paying the bills. Now they ain't quite denying it. They say, well, we just pay it piece, okay? But when you listen to vendors and how they haven't been paid, and when you hear them confess that, boy, we out of medication in the hospital, and we ain't got none of this and we ain't got none of that. Inquiring minds want to know, well, how come you got all this money, but you can't pay the bills on time? So the debt continues to climb, and they are about this fiscal year to have to now go to new borrowings of some $1.7 billion, I believe. Now, when we did a similar exercise, rolling over debt, etc., the current Deputy Prime Minister accused us of borrowing this ridiculous amount of money. And he knew that this was a reasonable fiscal exercise, a re-amortize debt and so on. And we're not disingenuous like them, but they got to borrow and they got to go to the international market, and it has some challenges such that the Bahamas will be spending almost $600 million a year on interest payments alone.
Which is crazy.
Consequence of this administration's spending and borrowing.
It's ludicrous. I can't wrap my head around that one yet.
That's more money than we spend on education and health.
Doc, I got several more texts for you. So what we're gonna do is let the news play, and on the flip side of the news, we'll wrap things up with you if that's good with you.
Thank you for the opportunity, man. I with you.
I appreciate you being here. So we got several other texts coming up on the flip side of the break from a broad cross section as well, from gas prices to the immigration to housing to education. And they're all coming through right now. So we'll pick it up on the flip side of the break. We'll get to the news and we'll continue the conversation with our special guest today, Chairman of the FNM, Dr. Dwayne Sands, right after this.
Ready to experience a classic Dunkin' Donut as the ultimate coffee delight? The new Dunkin' Boston Cream Latte is the perfect balance of sweetness and indulgence. Savor freshly brewed bold espresso, creamy milk, rich dark chocolate and vanilla flavors, all topped and drizzled with chocolate. Available hot or iced. The Dunkin' Boston Cream Latte has the taste sensation to make your heart sing. The Bahamas runs on Dunkin'.
Cancer Treatment Centers of America is now City of Hope, creating one of the leading cancer care and research networks from coast to coast, providing more of what you need. More locations means more care closer to home. More specialists means more expertise. More research means more breakthroughs. More advancements means more treatment options. And more options means more hope. Learn more at cancercenter.com.
Play with Island Games, we making dreams come true. Play with Island Games, we paying more out to you. Don't mind the noise in the market, you getting cash in your pocket. 'Cause Island Games is spicy, and spicy is tradition. So when you play Island Games, we putting Bahamians first, guaranteed to pay. Island Games, we like them other jokers, we've been here from the Island Games, we gonna make your dreams come true. We playing with Island Games.
What would you do with extra cash? Plan a trip.
Overhaul my wardrobe.
With CIBC First Caribbean, you can get comfy with savings on your mortgage costs. Buy or build your home or switch your mortgage to us and get up to US $1,000 off the loan application fee. Up to US $2,000 off home insurance. With up to US $10,000 towards switching costs, your pockets will be comfy too. Visit CIBCFCIB.com/get comfy for more information. Conditions apply.
The only thing better than a KFC Deluxe Chicken Sandwich is a KFC Deluxe Chicken Sandwich and fries for only $7. At KFC, our fried chicken experts know that great taste is in the details. Fresh lettuce, ripe tomatoes, creamy mayo, and a KFC 100% white meat chicken filet, stacked on a toasted brioche bun. Now served with golden fries for only $7. Best chicken sandwich, always go for KFC. It's finger-licking good.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
For many people, a breast cancer diagnosis can feel like a battle they're facing alone. But we're all in this together, because breast cancer patients are our mothers, sisters, daughters, our friends. Women need to be assured that they have access to the screening they need and the support they deserve, because every woman matters. Every story is powerful. Every voice makes a difference. Join Guardian Media Group as we pink up the month of October for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Show your support. Place your ad. Give your story, your voice in the Nassau Guardian, Star 106 Hits, Guardian Radio, or Hot 91. For more information, Contact your account executive or call 302-2300. Join Guardian Media as we motivate our community by supporting a powerful cause and raising awareness for Awareness Month this October.
We're back at you on the Thursday, September 28th edition of Talking Heads with our special guest, FNM Chairman Dr. Dwayne Sands. And we're over into the 5 o'clock hour, but I'm quite sure Pearlie will understand. Just keep him on Zoom and he zoom in, Kermie, because I know whatever time we got left, he'll want to, expound on his dolphins. Your dolphins, too. Boy, it's rough around here, Doc. You ain't got a prescription for aqua and orange?
Hey, I have this interesting negative relationship with the Dolphins, and I know that I am very popular in this town.
But you are right with me. You could have a seat at my sports bar any day of the week.
People ask me, well, who you pull for? I say anybody but Miami.
That's a good answer. It leaves you open for options. I like it. I keep telling Dolphin fans, and you might correct me since you are way more a medical professional, run with you, but I hear it's aqua, orange, and then gangrene. Is that how it goes? That's the colors before gangrene?
Wait till week 5 or 6. Okay? And, as long as they're undefeated, oh, Lord, 1972.
Boy, listen, the producer ready to play the song right now, Dr. Sands. Don't push it. I don't want to hear that Miami Dolphin song right now because they'll play it randomly.
Then they can be, we only lose 1 game. Yeah, we only lose 2 games.
We only lose 5 games, and the referees cheat us.
Then it's like, okay, next year. It could be next year. Next year's our year.
Boy, I tell you. Well, anyway, before these Dolphins run hard on us, let me get a couple of these questions, all right? First one off the text lines, and I got several. Great show, Naughty. Good afternoon, Dr. Sands. I'm in the petroleum industry. If elected in the next general election, will the FNM finally make it livable for gas operators to make a living in the country? And I look at the pumps right now, Dr. Sands, $6.17, $6.15, $6.11 for a gallon of gas.
It's unfortunate, but all things to do with energy in this country are ridiculously expensive. And a significant part of the cost is because the government got to take their cut, okay? And so the wholesalers get theirs, the government get theirs, and the people that get shafted are the people that have to provide it. I'm talking about the retailers and the consumers. And so there's something wrong with that. So there are many retailers who are getting pennies on the gallon, okay? So it is almost difficult for them to remain in business. And then the consumers say, well, what you want? You want blood? And a significant part of it is that the government says, well, for every gallon of gas, we want a certain amount of revenue, and we ain't prepared to budge on that. So perhaps a different way of generating revenue, because energy costs in this country, whether you're talking about energy to get from place to place, energy to run your house or your business, which is totally unacceptable. So the answer is yes, energy reform is an integral part of a Pintard-led FNM administration.
Because I had another text come through right now asking the same thing. Naughty, you talking to Dr. Sands about petroleum. What about going green? Will the FNM go green if they're the next administration?
Yes, I would have sent out a voice note the other day. We use Bunker C in the Bahamas, number 6 diesel. It is the most polluting fuel in the world. The dregs, what's left behind when there ain't nothing left from oil. Okay, so you got high quality LNG is near the top. And before we even start talking about renewable energy, right? Of the fossil fuels, we use some of the worst, most dangerous, nastiest, most environmentally toxic fuel ever. We have been pump faking when we get to talking about solar. We ain't serious at all. And this is a country which is about to get drowned by climate change, where we have had monster storms like Dorian, and we fooling around with renewable energy. As a matter of fact, we are talking about giving the rest of the world carbon credit benefits of our mangroves, etc., so they can kill us. Now, ask yourself if that makes any sense.
And my question with the carbon credits is, who's going to get the contract to manage said carbon credits? Is it going to be a private entity? Is it going to be government? What's it going to be?
Naughty. I want people to understand the significance. Okay? What we are basically saying is that the climate change that's taking place is because the world is using fossil fuels and they're producing massive amounts of carbon.
Correct.
Okay? And so if a country wants to use more fossil fuels than their limit, they could throw you a blow, give you 30 pieces of silver,
and continue on doing what they're doing to the world.
Exactly. And so the Bahamas is now saying, come kill us. Come kill us off. We can sell you the right to do it. Right now.
All right.
Don't get me wrong. We need a couple of dollars because we have a debt problem. We got a debt crisis. But before you take that 30 pieces of silver, ask what is it going to do to you? What is it going to do to your country? And when you look at the flooding that we had in the southern part of New Providence, when you look at all over Abaco and Grand Bahama, you better be sure that you are making decisions that make sense in the medium and long term. So fundamentally, what the world needs to do is cut down on its use of fossil fuels, and we ought to be leading the way. We ought to demonstrate that this is a green country, and we need to get there as quickly as possible.
We got a call coming in, Doc. Let's go to the phone lines real quick. Talking Heads, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Who's this? Talking Heads.
How you doing?
Afternoon. Who's this?
This is Ed, boy.
Hey, all right. You got a question for Dr. Sands?
No. I feel the need to butt in. A quote by C. Allen Johnson. We are selling bullets of carbon credits for the rest of the world to shoot at us.
That's a good one. That's similar to what Dr. Sands said. We giving them ammunition to shoot back at us, and that's not what it's designed to be. Here's another question for you, Dr. Sands. Naughty, ask Dr. Sands if the FNM is reelected next election, will they reinstitute the hedge program, the fuel hedge program that was discontinued by this administration or bungled by this administration?
Naughty, I don't know if you looked at your electricity bill.
No, Dr. Sands, I passed out. I didn't really see it.
Somebody called me today, okay? This is a woman in her 80s, living in a 2-bedroom house, and said that there's 2 of them living in the house, and their electricity bill was more than $1,200, okay?
My God.
Now, how the blank is a pensioner, okay? So when people get these electricity bills now, and they are hundreds, $500, $600, $700, $800, what are they supposed to give up? Food, medication, what? And so the decision that was made to change, dramatically reduce, stop the hedging program, And we don't know what the true story is because the Minister of Works misled the Parliament 8 times in 11 minutes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we ain't sure whether it was him or the Minister of Finance or the Prime Minister that was prevaricating or misleading or lying.
Misspeaking, that's what they like to say, misspoke.
Okay? But yes, the Free National Movement, next administration, if we regain the trust of the Bahamian people, will ensure that an appropriate hedging program is put in place so you don't get this kind of shock where you look at your bill and go WTF.
And other adjectives. All right, Naughty, if we elect Dr. Sands in the F&M next election, will they once and for all demolish the shanty towns and address the illegal immigration problem affecting this country?
We attempted to deal with the unregulated communities, and we were injuncted by the courts, okay? In this country, we have an executive, a legislature, a judicial system, and then hopefully a viable fourth estate, that's media. And so the executive could do a lot, the legislative branch can do a lot, but the judiciary also plays a role. And so within the rule of law, certainly I believe that our goal is to get rid of these unsafe, unregulated communities which have grown up all over the Bahamas, most significantly in Abaco, but also in New Providence and in Eleuthera in particular. They are health hazard. We've seen fires rage through them. We worry about contamination of the water table, as we saw in Andros. Yes, the simple answer to a difficult and complex question is yes. We will move deliberately and legally to get rid of shantytowns.
All right, here's another one for you, Dr. Sands. Good evening. Can you ask Dr. Sands, as chairman of the F&M, if they are successful in being elected next election, would they look to implement the National Development Plan?
I think the National Development Plan, the idea is that, when you have government switching every 5 years, things like education, health, national security, immigration, you get all kind of flip-flopping and you can never accomplish anything. And then you gotta vote me back in if you want to have any reasonable continuity. Well, you can't run a country that way. And I think we ought to agree that there's some things that both sides, if we consider this, and this is not guaranteed to be, for the most part, and it has been historically, a two-party democracy, that there are certain things that you may tinker around the edges, but the fundamentals are agreed, and you leave that alone so that the country and the people can flourish.
All right. Now then, the line's really starting to get hot now, so here we go. Next question. Naughty, this is something, and good afternoon to your guests as well. Here is something that the F&M needs to investigate while they're in the opposition. They have to investigate these non-payments. The government owes many contractors for work that has been completed for years, out of key items, etc., and these bills need to be paid, and contractors need to be paid for the work they've done, they've completed or done.
So I would put a slightly different emphasis on this question. Why is it that with all of these legitimate bills that are unpaid, legal settlements that are unpaid, people owed money because the government took their property, took their land, etc., lost their cases in court, people that had claims against the government haven't been paid, and yet you have prominent politicians that have gotten millions of dollars from this government, okay, in secret settlements that we are not entitled to know, okay? Why is it that the public treasury can't say how much money they got when a big company spilled oil in Exuma? Okay, so we could know how many millions of dollars we have to pay the bill to clean it up or pay the people. again, this comes back to cash flow. It comes back to priorities. And it seems as if this administration, they can spend how they want to spend, who they want to spend it with, and in particular, to make sure that a certain group of special interest people get paid, and the rest will dog eat your lunch.
All right. Naughty, when Dr. Sands was in power, why didn't he fix things? It seems like every time politicians are out of power, they always have the answers. Why is this?
Well, I would say to you that I spent from May 2017 until May 2020 as a member of the executive. And I spent until September 2021 as a member of the legislative branch. As you know, I resigned from the cabinet in May of 2020. And every day that I went to work, I did my endeavor best to make the system that we have. You're a part of the cabinet. You serve at the pleasure of the prime minister, and decisions get made by cabinet. So what you are able to do or not to do is a result of collective responsibility. That said, it was a privilege to serve, and it is the method by which things get done or don't get done. And sometimes we get a lot done, other times we don't get as much as we'd like. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't try. And I could guarantee you that during my time in government, I tried.
All right. Here's one for you, Doc. Naughty, I don't care what Dr. Sands says right now. I hope the Bahamian people wake up and dismantle both the PLP and FNM parties by electing a new coalition government. None of them deserves the trust of the Bahamian people again. Now, Texter, when you say coalition government, you mean a government members of the House from different parties, or are you inferring the COI? Because I want that for clarity. But, Doc, you could go ahead and answer whenever you want.
I don't mean to trivialize or minimize the statement that was made. But, when you are operating under the banner of a particular organization, the administration that is in from one time to another is not identical to the one that was there before. I think many people look at the PLP administration from 1967 to 1972 and said that they accomplished a lot. That's a far cry different than what they did in 77 to 82. And certainly they were a waste of time from 82 to 92. The accomplishments of the FNM administration from 92 to 97 to 2000, phenomenal. So, we can make these general statements, but the individuals that happen to carry the ball or run with it at the time makes a big difference. And let me conclude by once again going to our sports analogy. So far, it seems as if this particular Miami Dolphin team looked like it could be a throwback to the 1972 Greasy, Warfield, Zonka, Kick dynasty. And I hope you see the metaphor that I'm making.
Yeah, I see it. I hope people could grasp it. Let's go to the phone lines real quick. Talking Heads, Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM. Who's this?
Good afternoon. Calling into the show?
Yeah, man. Afternoon. You got a question for Dr. Sands?
Yes, I do.
Go right ahead.
All right, Dr. Sands, I'm calling because I can't believe...
Oh, hold on. This Lincoln? No, man, Lincoln, you can't call me. You know how to reach me, bro. And guess what? I'm glad you called, because none of your COI people who said they was going to call called. So that speaks volumes of how much they following you, my brother. Now, you know how to reach out to me. And you know how to do it the right way, not the slanderous way and the libelous way. I'm glad you called. I'm glad you grew up here to call, because none of your minions did. And you know better, Lincoln. You know I can hold you to task on this, because that is slander and libel, what you put out there. That's exactly what it is. But that speaks volumes right there, hey? All that big video. I want everybody call Naughty Show. But nobody did. Only you did. The chairman right now, a real politician, not a wannabe. So anyway, let's continue. Dr. Sands, please check this one out. I just paid a deposit to turn on a new commercial office rental. Power is not on yet, but I got a bill 2 days later in my name for $400. And the power is still not on yet. That is really a WTF moment.
The cost of doing business for entrepreneurs, for small, medium, and even large businesses is unacceptable in this country. And, under the guise of no taxes or low taxes, etc., we are being taxed to death. And, it is misguided to believe that we can tax our way into prosperity. What we are doing is we are making it difficult for the private sector, for entrepreneurs to make it. And what we are doing is now exporting funds to places nearby, South Florida, China, etc. And the only people making money right now are the people that are couriering stuff into the country.
All right, I got another one for you, Doc. Now, this one you got to answer for, because I knew this one was eventually coming. Naughty, we don't want to know about any COI government or coalition government, because both you and I know they don't have the proper temperament. Kindly ask the doctor, or Dr. Sands, what he thinks about their leadership at present and the future of the FNM and all the antics associated with the party right now.
I happen to be a part of the leadership team led by Michael C. Pintard, who I believe has assumed leadership of this organization at a critical time, not detracting from the contributions of any other leader. Certainly, it is now his time, and he has my unfettered, absolute support. We have not been afraid to apologize to the Bahamian people for whatever we did or did not do that resulted in harm, that hurt them. We recognize that some incredibly good things were done in the last administration, but we could have done some things differently. We were seeking to have transformational change in this country, where opportunities for Bahamians are dramatically improved. And so we are rebuilding this organization. He is leading this organization. And I think that if he continues on the path that he has charted, that we will regain the confidence of the Bahamian people and spare them from this miserable life that has been brought on by this current administration.
Boy, I keep hearing you referring to miserable life, but it sounds like we got you trying to bring Ziggy Rankin back here.
You need to play that song.
Hey, Mr. Producer, line that one up for Dr. Sands. Ziggy Rankin, man. Tired of this miserable life. That's an old one, man.
That was way back in 2007. But, it is as true then as it is today. And, people catching hell right now. And when you hear no less than Leslie Miller, who senior politicians from the other side say that poor people in this country catching hell. It ain't only poor people. It is not so poor people, middle class people, upper middle class people that can barely pay their bills. While this administration flying all over the place in private jet, going to Bermuda and on the public treasury, eating 4 and 5 course meal, etc.
And speaking of Bermuda, Dr. Sands, have we got a final bill for Bermuda Gate?
Nope. We still don't know whether the Treasury was ever repaid, and they don't plan. It has been 1 year next month, and they don't plan to ever tell us whether they paid that bill. And that includes the Treasurer of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. We have never got a full accounting for how it was paid, who paid it, how much they paid, etc. But I can tell you that the amount of money that the Progressive Liberal Party paid back to the Treasury doesn't cover the cost of a one-way from New Providence to Bermuda.
Naughty, tell Doc there is no longer a middle class. That was in the 90s. Let's go to the phone lines real quick. Talking Heads, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Who's this? Talking Heads.
How you doing?
Afternoon.
I thought you was going to have the hottest show ever today, man.
Man, I thought so. I thought all kind of people was going to be calling me and trying to deal with me, man.
Look here, man.
All I can tell you is alphas don't run with betas, and betas don't approach alphas.
I so mad right now, to be honest with you, right?
No, you gotta
I'm
go.
supposed to be-
You gotta go on social media and ask why. What happened? Why was it a wet firework?
You buying for office. Why on earth would you try to piss the media off?
Lie on the media, slander the media. Get it right. Lie and slander a member of the media.
You're supposed to be so friendly with the media. You're supposed to be trying to upset a talk, especially a talk show host. And guess what? Some of these COIs, and I yet to hear one of them call today. You know, or better yet, did Mr. Call? The leader call?
Yeah, he called, but I had to shut him down because you can't call my show. You want to libel and slander me on your live, you could reach out and call me the same way. Hey.
I wouldn't slander him. I would like to hear people on serious note. After you see nobody else calling, he must have been calling.
He in his feelings, he had no traction. Nobody called.
Anyhow, you still have time. You some big mouth will call you every day.
I waiting. I waiting. I even
call.
stretched it into the 5 o'clock hour because I got a great guest and,
Yeah, good luck, Dr. Sands.
Thank
Continue
you
the good
kindly,
work.
and Naughty. Let me
Okay,
say
sir.
thank you for this opportunity. And I guess you got some Dolphin fans there waiting to discuss. How they had the second highest scoring game in the history of the NFL.
And that's 70 burger, yeah.
Go deal with them, please.
I can go deal with them, and I really appreciate you chiming in. You've been very candid. You've answered. I appreciate, and we got to do it again, and we'll make it happen because I do enjoy hearing
Thank
from
you kindly for the invite, and God bless. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right, take care, Doc. Appreciate you. All right, man. This was definitely a hot one so far. Let's get to the break. All right, and after the break, we'll be talking some sports. Naughty Tell Dog they're referred to as sardines. I agree. For those of you who chiming in, hold on a second. Naughty, why you put Lincoln on blast? You have my whole office stirring up. That's just me doing what I do. Remember, alphas don't tolerate nothing from betas. Remember that. All right? Remember that. All right? Lions don't run with hyenas. Okay? All right. Anyhow, we're going to get to the break. I'm going to let Ziggy Rankin take us to the break. On the flip side of the break, I'll talk some sports real quick, get you my picks for tonight's game, get you your final 15 going home. Because I got to take a break. I got to laugh. I was waiting for all these Thunder Rebel COI members to call me today, and all I got was, that should really tell you all something, Bunch of mouth murderers. Slanderous, libelous mouth murderers. Nothing of substance. Let's go to the break.
Tired of the worries and the problems and the strife. Tired of the things that they're not going to right. Oh, tired of this miserable, and this miserable. Bill collectors, them can't stop chasing. Like a thief will jump over a fence. Well, them judge and jury, them fine, I guilty. Them telling me that I have no defense. Oh, I don't know when it's gonna be over. The straight and narrow path I choose. Although I know the righteous road is wrong, still sometimes I sing the blues. Coming tired of this miserable life, tired of the worries and the problems and the strife.
Craving a sandwich that hits all the right spots? Look no further. Introducing Dunkin's newest star, the oven toasted turkey sandwiches. Made with love and served on toasted sourdough bread, these classics are reinvented with a twist. Sink your teeth into layers of delicious deli turkey, crispy lettuce, and white cheddar. Plus, we've added the perfect kick with smoky bacon and your choice of creamy avocado spread or zesty chipotle sauce. Dunkin's got your sandwich cravings covered all day at once on Dunkin'.
Prevention and control of dengue fever in the Bahamas will depend on how well we can together eliminate the mosquitoes that carry the virus and their water breeding sites. This is a community effort. Every week and after rainfall, check your yard for items that hold water. Tip and turn or remove. Talk to your neighbors and encourage them to inspect their yards as well. Check inside your home for places where mosquitoes can get in or breed. Use an indoor insect repellent safely to help destroy mosquitoes. Fight the bite. Do your part to protect you and your family from dengue fever. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Too many debt bills? Overdue on loan payments? Improve your credit score and credit report with the Bahamas Credit Bureau. Shrink your debt payments with a debt consolidation loan and built-in savings that pays you 5% interest. Call 356-7764.
The Grand Bahama News is available every Tuesday in the Nassau Guardian. Buy your local paper at Freeport convenience stores, Western Bakery, DeGregory's Fine Foods, and Bellevue Gifts. Want to reach your Grand Bahama customers? Then call Barefoot Marketing at 827-4578 or message them for ad rates via their Facebook page. Advertising opportunities now include classified ads too. Keep up with all the latest Grand Bahama news in the Nassau Guardian newspaper every Tuesday.
We're back at you right here on the on the Thursday, September 28th edition of Talking Heads. We're going to get into some sports right now, but before I do, let me hit up a couple of these last final texts. All right? Naughty, great show as usual. The COI is not even a real party. They're just a bunch of political wannabes in a costume. I was trying to text you while driving, and Naughty, I hit a pothole. Now my car all kapunkel up. That hole was huge. You should have asked Dr. Sands if he can fix the potholes. Jesus. Naughty, is the stand-up 242 march still on? No, and no. No. What I will do is what I've always been doing. Use my platform like this, and you all could go ahead, and you all could go to Facebook, like the page, all right? Talking Heads. Naughty got jokes. Go ahead. Because what I'll do is something that's very effective in my own way and that you guys love so much and you all been begging me to bring back. So since y'all asked for it and it's needed, check me out starting next week. The return of the coldest videos. Y'all like them. Y'all love them. Like them and share them. Have fun with them. Because I got a lot of material to work with. So I'm going to take that route. I'm going to use my platform. I'm going to do me. All right? I'm going to pick up my sword and my shield like I always do and fight solo like the warrior that I am. That way, we won't have anybody muddying the waters, talking out the siren, libeling, or nothing. It'll be right there. Because one thing what I always do is I use everything Unit is put in the public domain. I just let people laugh at you for the idiocy you put out in the public domain, or where you drop the ball, or where you lie. So we'll revisit. I'm going to do me, all right? Because at the end of the day, there are too much fraudulent figures and opportunists that like to try to take events that are based on country and politicize them. And when that happens, I don't choose sides. I choose one thing, being a Bahamian. And if I got to deal with the madness in between to make the Bahamas a better place, then I'll do it. But I prefer to do it in my own way. Because obviously when you try, there's an old saying, no good deed goes unpunished. And I've seen, the last march bore some real political wannabes and political opportunists into a position that they shouldn't deserve. And if we can't get together as a country without politicizing the march because of political opportunists, then we don't need to do it. We can find other ways for our voices to be heard. Other ways to get the message out without people being slandered and wannabe politicos using it to gain traction, which they won't maintain and won't benefit them in the long run because people see right through their charade. So no. Nice and clear, no. And I'm quite sure this is a COI texter who didn't have the fortitude to call, so go carry that wherever you need to carry it. All right? Just move the tail you got tucked between your legs to the side, tuck it under there and carry it where you need to carry it. Now let's talk sports. Big game tonight in the NFL. Thursday night football. Yes, indeed. And it's a great game tonight. Big. NFC North. We got the Pearl chimed in?
I've been here waiting, bro.
Purdy, what's up? Purdy. Boy, Purdy, you see how these days? Boy, Purdy. Anyhow.
Purdy, you did well. You did well.
And I even used one Joker's wild word.
See, I've gone on record. I don't personally, my personal view in the Bahamas is I don't think third parties work. I believe in the PLP and the FNM. And I believe in those two parties, unless one of them fold another party, but I don't see a third party fringe. The money people can either get the PLP or the FNL to support their election. And it doesn't work. And when you
Mute it yourself, Pearly. Man, Pearly, mute yourself in that nice dialogue, man. Pearly, unmute. Press the mute button, Pearly. Or you think the COI done snatched Pearly? Pearly, you all right?
I'm here.
Man, you gone blank, but I thought them COI minions tried to catch you.
No.
Because you see, they don't want no part of the big dog today. They don't want part of Greasy. They might have come after Moral, not knowing that you can't rip them to shreds too.
Exactly, but that's why I leave them. They can come at me later. That's no problem.
But yeah, man, Pearly, I mean, my God. The way we are politically right now, just the blatant lying is ridiculous. It needs to stop. People they got an issue with what you said. They're just going to lie on you. We can't get better that way, man.
Real talk. But I know we can't lie on tonight. It's them Kansas City Chiefs.
They ain't playing tonight, though.
Oh, they ain't playing tonight. Who playing tonight?
You got the Detroit Lions and the Green Bay Packers, and you can't lie on them Detroit Lions tonight.
You know something? Somebody's, I know, really think that Green Bay is all the way back. And they saying that that's the greatest move they made by letting Aaron Rodgers go.
No.
But I think Detroit.
I'll tell you why Detroit wins that game. Out of the first 3 games of the season, Detroit has been the better team. They have been.
Yeah.
The last 2 weeks, Green Bay's been in some nail biters and playing right to the wall. Scaled down in one, lost the other.
Yeah, you're right.
They got
You're
some
very
growing
right.
pains to go to. Detroit's more of a complete team. They got Montgomery back at the running back position tonight. That's going to stabilize things for Goff. He'll be able to go down the field to St. Brown, Khalif Raymond, and Reynolds. And I think, and Laporte is a huge weapon in that offense. The rookie tight end from Iowa. And the defense, despite the injuries, they're getting off the field. I think it's a statement game tonight. I think if Detroit wants to mature and show people that they've gone through the maturation process last year and they're ready to be a factor in that division this year, they got to win that game in Green Bay tonight, and I think they do it, and I think they do it by the 3 points. Even though Green Bay's got a 1.5 favorite, I like Detroit to win it outright by 3.
I like it by a touchdown.
And you could definitely bet it, set it, and forget it with the Island Game. Simply log on to theislandgame.com, click on the sports book, see all the options and all the ways to play. Play it, enjoy it, and always do it responsibly. All right, Naughty and Pearly, I got a question for you. How come the Suns traded DeAndre? Look, the Blazers suck. The Blazers used to suck. I think the Blazers are going to be an entertaining young team over the next couple of years.
They may not make the playoffs this year, but they'll be an entertaining team, and they might just make the playoffs. Because don't fool yourself and think DeAndre can't carry a team. He is a number 1 pick. He is an all-star.
Portland will use DeAndre down in that paint. He's a 22-10 guy every night in Portland if they get him the ball.
Yeah, and they rebuilding, and they can build around him. They can be all right. They can be fine.
They're going to be muy bueno.
Yeah. They ain't going to be no championship right up to now, but they if you look at what the move they made, he's young enough to buy the time for them to build around him. By the time he matures even more, and they're going to be having they can have a lot of picks, and they have some good players coming their way. They can be all right. Plus, they have money to spend too.
That's one thing they're going to have is money to spend. I think the Suns got really good in all this because they got the players that fill out their bench, that allow their stars to do what their stars do, and they got a little younger in the process too, Pearly. So I think the Suns may be, the one who benefited the most out of that deal. Because when you look at Milwaukee, they just got Lillard, but they managed to keep Middleton and a couple of other pieces, and I think that squad's going to be equally as strong in its own right. Now you have to see what other teams in the Eastern Conference do. I hear Miami's trying to make a move for Drew Holiday and Buddy Hield. So we'll see how that goes.
Also the Clippers, also the 76ers.
They should be there.
There's moves, but that's two key players that you had to give up something, including draft picks, and they may not have all that to give away.
Yeah.
If they had it to give away, they would have probably had Damian Lillard on their team right now.
Naughty, what's so funny is the Miami Dolphins beat the Colorado Buffaloes last week, and all their fans, including Pearly, acting like they won the Super Bowl.
I never act like they win the Super Bowl, and Naughty will tell you that.
No, if Pearly act,
living, Go ahead.
If Pearly acted like they won the Super Bowls, it would involve some high shelf, top shelf liqueur, several brands, a fat out of this world, and lone gals. Correct?
All I did was enjoy the moment of the victory. That's what I did.
Well, that's what you did, eh? And it allowed you to be that guy for a week straight.
Tell that caller it coming though.
All right, Naughty and Pearly, how do y'all feel about Dame and the Bucks? Well, we mentioned it, but we got Colin Cowherd taking us home today. He's going to do a full breakdown on that trade, and he'll give you some good insight on the Milwaukee Bucks. I like Milwaukee. They managed to keep Middleton. They got Lopez there. They got the key pieces in place around Giannis. Lillard coming in allows him to take a night or two off when he needs to, because Lillard could fill it up, and vice versa.
Pick and roll, baby. Pick and roll all day. Pick and roll all day.
Pick and roll you to pieces.
All day. That's all that is about.
Anyway, so Pearly and I, we both like the Detroit Lions tonight. All right?
Yeah.
And we're going to take a quick break. Flip side of the break, we'll get into the sports. We'll get into the Final 10 with Colin Cowherd. And don't forget, we are live on location tomorrow, Duncan East Street South. If you ain't doing nothing 4 to 6 tomorrow, Pearly, you may as well come get your donuts on. What you saying?
Yeah, man, that sounds like a plan.
You can have all my coffee.
Sound like a plan.
We'll work it out.
Very good idea.
All right.
Okay.
So I appreciate
All right.
you, brother. And I appreciate you, only doing the short portion of the sports today. But obviously, we got Dr. Science. So sometimes we got to bleed over when we got special guests like that.
Man, I got to have words with him. He said some things that him and I have to have words about. But
Hey, don't. No, listen. On a sports plane, Dr. Science is invited to my sports bar and my sports cave any day of the week. He could sit at the head table. He could drink from the Golden Goblet because he hates the Dolphins. That makes him good people in my book.
You should have asked him what he think about the Cowboys. It might be a different story here, too.
I hear he's a Cowboy fan. That's what I'm hearing. But anyway, that could be a different story for another day. But we can talk soon, Pearly. I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate everybody who chimed in. And like I said, everybody who commented, good stuff. And all I could say is, COI callers, come out, wherever you are. Much to do about nothing. Oh, boy. Anyhow, I have more action in our football game tonight than them calls today from them COIs. Colin Cowherd, take us home. Mr. Producer, I'm out of here. We'll see you all mañana live from Dunkin' Donuts East Street South. Deuces!
Cancer Treatment Centers of America is now City of Hope, creating one of the leading cancer care and research networks from coast to coast, providing more of what you need. More locations means more care closer to home. More specialists means more expertise. More research means more breakthroughs. More advancements means more treatment options. And more options means more hope. Learn more at cancercenter.com.
The only thing better than a KFC Deluxe Chicken Sandwich is a KFC Deluxe Chicken Sandwich and fries for only $7. At KFC, our fried chicken experts know that great taste is in the details. Fresh lettuce, ripe tomatoes, creamy mayo, and a KFC 100% white meat chicken filet, stacked on a toasted brioche bun. Now served with golden fries for only $7. For the best chicken sandwich, always go for KFC. It's finger-licking good.
Think everybody got value, everybody won, Milwaukee, Phoenix, Portland, and Damian Lillard won too. He just doesn't know it yet. So let's talk about Milwaukee. Listen, massive size, Portis, Giannis, Brook Lopez, rim protection. You need that with Dame. He's not a good defender and he's small. This is a team that has a fortress in front of the rim. Giannis now does not have to control the ball as much. It gives them a great late game score. Giannis sometimes can get necessarily great in the fourth. They call it Dame time. His money quarter is the fourth. He is great for Milwaukee. He is a fourth quarter closer. Giannis does so much on both ends, handles the ball, defends. I think sometimes in the playoffs, it feels like he's worn down and attacked. I love this for Milwaukee, and this morning they are NBA title favorites. Love it. How about Phoenix? Phoenix has their guys. They got Durant. They got Booker, Bradley Beal. What did they need? Two things. Bench scoring. They got it with Grayson Allen, 10, 11 a game. And they also needed upgraded chemistry. DeAndre Ayton's talented, but he never gets looks. You got 3 bona fide scoring stars. He never gets looks. So Phoenix gets a chemistry upgrade and bench scoring. Great for them. And what does Portland get? Picks, because they're all about the future. They also get a very good player. I'm a huge fan of Drew Holiday. And they get DeAndre Ayton, who will get more organic looks, will be a happier player in Portland. There's no Durant on this team. There's no Devin Booker on this team yet, or Bradley Beal. He didn't get looks in Phoenix. He'll get looks in Portland. Not as many maybe as he loves, but he'll be a happier player. He's an athletic big, runs the floor. So years 1 and 2, I think everybody won the trade, but they won it in different timelines. For the first 2 years, Milwaukee and Phoenix, real title contenders, won this trade. But Dame's wearing down, right? So, and Giannis now got hurt recently. And Phoenix, Durant injuries, Bradley Beal, a lot of wear on the tires. The first 2 years of this trade were won by Milwaukee and Phoenix. Years 3 through 12 are won by the Blazers. Assets out when they hit. They're not there yet. They're not a title team yet. But watch out. They are going to be like an Oklahoma City. Like, they're sneaky good now, and nobody's going to want to play them in about 3 years. And that Oklahoma City about 3 years ago. Now they're getting better. I think Portland years 3 through 10 won this trade. So now it's the Damian Lillard component. What a bummer. He didn't get go where he wants. This happens a lot in life. You don't get a job. You get what you perceive as a second job, right? Your safety college. You wanted to get into Princeton, but you ended up going to Holy Cross, and you're like, wow, Holy Cross was a way better fit. Damian's a poor defender, and he's small. Milwaukee's the biggest team in the league. Even if Brook Lopez is in foul trouble, there's Portis and Giannis. Giannis is injured. There's Lopez and Portis. If Bam gets hurt in Miami, it's often injured Jimmy Butler. Like, there is depth of size and depth of scoring. Middleton can give you 24. Giannis can give you 34. Lopez can give you 22. There's a lot of depth of size and scoring in Milwaukee. Dame's going to be the guy late in games. But they have more ability to protect the rim. Both are good defensive teams, Miami and Milwaukee, and Miami's where Dame wanted to go. But Milwaukee's got more size and more depth of size, and he'll get the ball late. Jimmy Butler is great. Jimmy Butler's playing 59 games a year now. Last 5 years, that's what he plays. Because he plays hard, and he gets banged up, and he's not a giant player. So there are going to be a lot of nights, it's just Dame and Bam. And that's what it is. Chris Middleton gets hurt, it's still Giannis, better than anybody Miami has. Giannis is better than any Miami Heat player. He's better than Bam, he's better than Jimmy Butler, or Middleton. So the depth of size. Also, Dame went to college at Weber State and played in Portland. Miami is brash, loud, spotlight expectations. Milwaukee's an underrated city to live in. Had friends been there, they love it. It's a great organization. It's under the radar. Weber State, Portland, Milwaukee. Today, the Bucks are the favorite to win the championship. They may have been in Miami, but the expectations in Miami is with Pat Riley and Spoelstra, you got to win. This is what they do. It's the Miami Heat. They win championships. Milwaukee is like, this will be cool. I think they're going to win a championship. He's a small-town guy who's been loyal to Weber State, loyal to Portland. He loves Portland, loves Weber State. Milwaukee's going to love Dame, and he's going to love Milwaukee. He's got a Western feel to him. Right? And I think Milwaukee's closer to home. Miami's its own galaxy. And I love Miami. But it's way down there. Spotlight, stars, expectations. This is the safety college that a kid chooses, doesn't get into the one he wants, goes to the safety college, and you're like, yeah, I really like Holy Cross. You know what? TCU really works for me. I didn't get into Texas. I think all three win. And I think Dame wins. He just doesn't know it yet. Reasonable expectations. Giannis is better than anybody Miami had. Depth of size, depth of scoring. I love it. All right, now here's something that This whole Jet situation's a mess. And I've been on the side of, listen, Aaron's coming back. I hear about this guy replacing Zach Wilson. You might as well just stay with Zach Wilson. Then this rumor came out. Ryan Tannehill, Titans quarterback to the Jets. Now, that's interesting. Here's why. I didn't buy Kirk Cousins. Why? Because he shrinks, and New York is a pressure cooker. Okay? That's not what Kirk Cousins is. Kirk Cousins is 1 o'clock window Kirk. All right? That's what he is. It's been established. Don't argue. Right? Like, we all know he's 1 o'clock window. It's not a late game. He's not window. He's not pressure. New York City is pressure. Plus, it's a bad O-line, a bad pass-blocking O-line. Kirk Cousins isn't hyper-athletic. Bad O-line, Kirk Cousins pressure, give me a break. Carson Wentz. Well, I push back on that for two reasons. One, the Jets already have a mobile, strong-arm quarterback with locker room issues. Isn't that Carson Wentz's label? Arm, moves well. Not sure he got along with anybody in Philadelphia, and they didn't exactly love him in Indy. Ryan Tannehill is different. First, he was a college receiver. Big, strong, and athletic. He can deal with a shaky pass-blocking line. He may be semi-limited, but he doesn't shrink in big games. He's just not great. If he gets beat by a Brady or beat by Mahomes, it's because he's not as good. Kirk Cousins shrinks in spots. I don't think Tannehill does. He just is what he is. And go back to Tannehill when Tennessee was the number 1 seed. J-Mac's going to hate this. What was Tennessee? Defensive head coach. Great defense. 1-star receiver. A strong run game. And a shaky pass-blocking offensive line. They could run block. They didn't pass block well. What are the Jets? Defensive coach, great defense, run game. Can run block okay, bad pass blocking O-line, 1-star receiver. It's the same team. Now, you may not like Vrabel, or you may not like Saleh as much as Vrabel. It's the same roster. You can run it. You can defend. Most of your talent's on defense. They don't pass block well. They can run block pretty well. 1-star receiver. This works. This makes sense. Tennessee has got to give these young quarterbacks a look. Whether they can play or not, let them play. It's not a Super Bowl team. Vrabel's not going to get fired. Saleh, J-Mac thinks could. I don't, but could. So my takeaway is the Kirk Cousins thing never worked. Shaky pass blocking line with Kirk Cousins, pressure cooker New York, that's not going to work. Carson Wentz is just a bigger version of Zach Wilson, kind of. Tannehill's different. Strong, athletic. Go look at his Tennessee success. 5 or 6 of the exact same components of the Jets. This is interesting. Robert Saleh this week changing his tune a bit on Zach Wilson.